The Mavericks get thunderstruck at OKC, losing out on a trip to the semifinals of the NBA Cup. We'll break it all down here coming up next on the DLS Mavs postgame show. Hey, what's up, DLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato, Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella, and our national NBA insider, Mark Stein. We are DLS Mavs, your favorite guys covering your favorite team every single game night, win or lose, as the Mavericks fall 118-104 on the road to the Oklahoma City Thunder in the quarterfinal of the NBA Cup, as the Dallas Mavericks see Shai Gilgeous-Alexander score 39 points in the win for OKC. Mavericks get 19 points from Najee Marshall in the loss. Klay Thompson also scoring 19 points, knocking down 5 threes, but it wasn't enough. Too many turnovers, too many points off turnovers for OKC, and a whole host of other issues for the Mavericks tonight, as their 7-game winning streak, I should say, is snapped at the hands of OKC. We will break it all down here for you over the next hour here on DLS Mavs. Really appreciate you joining us here. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to DLS Sports here on YouTube. Gentlemen, let's get into it. The Mavericks were looking for their 8th straight win, taking on a hot Oklahoma City Thunder team. But Tim Cato, the Oklahoma City Thunder had a plan led by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who had 39 points on this night for the Thunder.
The Oklahoma City Thunder are a very good team. They have a disgustingly good defense. The Mavericks had a very bad night. There is a correlation between those two things. We can get into the specifics about why all it happened. I am not personally over here overreacting, thinking that all of the good things that Mavs fans deservedly thought about the team as they won 12 of 13, 11 to 12. There's so many wins, it was blurring together.
11 to 12, you got it, yeah.
So many wins that there's no overreaction here, but that was a miserable night of basketball from Dallas, and it doesn't matter. It wasn't just OKC. Certainly it was OKC, and that is a scary team, one that Dallas may face in the Western Conference Finals. We'll get into all that, but Dallas needed to be better, and in a lot of areas they very much could have and should have been.
Is that a finable offense?
No.
Yeah,
but don't let it happen.
You're
again.
just old man.
You're not an Orlando Magic.
Old
You're not an Orlando
Grace.
Magic player missing a defensive rotation.
Old man Grace.
Damn.
They find their players. You didn't see that?
Yeah.
Rough night in the barn. To beat the best team in your conference, you need your best players to be at their best. Kyrie had a pretty good second half, but in the first half, he was, kind of not impactful. Luka had one of his worst games of the season, and obviously OKC they learned their lesson from losing to the Mavs in the playoffs last year, and they said, we need to go out and get the best available perimeter defender in Alex Caruso, and they did. We need to get a big man that cannot get just outworked by Lively and Gafford, and they did, Hartenstein. And those two guys were really good tonight, in addition to all of OKC's other good players that they already have. And, that collection of guys makes life really tough on Luka and Kyrie. They were throwing bodies their way, which knocked them off their rhythm, got them out of their game, got them out of their comfort zone, forced them to make a lot of mistakes early on, so they never settled into a rhythm. And then whenever you're putting two guys on Kyrie and you're showing and soft doubling on Luka, you're forcing guys like Najee Marshall. You're forcing guys like Quentin Grimes, Klay Thompson, what could have been P.J. Washington, but he was out. You're forcing those guys to make decisions with the ball, and against the number one team at forcing turnovers in the NBA, Najee Marshall, you got to be better with the ball. Like Gafford and Lively got it poked away. Like all of these guys are forced to make tough plays against a really tough defense, and they couldn't do it, And so the turnover thing infected the whole team, like the bug that's been going around. I know you're a virologist. You'll have an update on that for us soon, but it was a really, really tough game. OKC's defense is extraordinarily good, and the Mavs were not detail-oriented enough on offense or defense to put themselves in a position to even make this game competitive in the second half, and that was a bummer.
And real quick, and I know this isn't why you said, but you said Najee's name first when you said protecting the ball. And I will say, I think he was the least culpable. Had 2 turnovers. Luka had 6. Quentin Grimes had 3 and half as many minutes. I just want to say, Naji Marshall, for someone who way over exceeded his the minutes total that he was supposed to have for this game, since it was his first game back, he did have a pretty good game, even if he had some moments like this.
Yeah, Spencer Dinwiddie's been a kind of a picture of dependability ever since that Miami game. Tonight, 4 assists, 3 turnovers. 3 of 9 from the floor.
Right.
Didn't get me my 10 points I needed on sleeper, Spencer. I've got it out for you now, bud. They
didn't get 9 points.
They didn't get enough of that. They didn't get enough of that. Kind of supplementary playmaking that they needed.
Yeah. Forgive me if I'm not like turning over tables and throwing chairs. I mean, this team just won 10 of 11, 11 of 12, half of those games without Luka. If you hearken back to when the Mavericks were 5-7 and had a trip to OKC in the very near future, this was the team that they were worried about seeing. The Thunder are 11-3 without Chet Holmgren. They came into this game at 18-5. Those 5 losses only by 24 points combined. We talk so much about how the Mavs in their first 8 losses were only by 38, 39 points, whatever it is. Well, I mean, the Thunder, they are the most feared defense in the NBA.
Rightfully so. They're incredible.
Adding Caruso and Hartenstein to what they already had has made them a team nobody wants to play. And look, Lou Dort was given the liberty to play with his full ferocity. It was a handsy performance. And if that's...
there was a clip of me discussing his defense that I characterized it in a funny way.
What did you say? I missed
I
it.
said he was double fisting Luka's nipples.
What?
He did say that during the watch along.
It was just really, he literally had his fist.
You had to ask him, Mark.
On Luka's.
Not the answer I was expecting.
Nope. That's why I was like, oh, he's going to go down that road. Here's going to get the answer he's not looking for. Here it comes.
The Boilermaker.
So, yeah.
One in both hands.
This team is a problem defensively.
Yes.
And, it was played. It was called the way Dort would want it officiated, and that didn't help the Mavericks either. So, I mean, a terrible night. You're straining to find positives. Naji Marshall's comeback is certainly one of them. The way Clay shot the ball is one of them. The way Omax Prosper stepped up and
looked good
and hit some
good
threes
minutes,
was a major boost. But also, I mean, the Mavericks are playing this game without PJ Washington and without Maxi Kleber, and I know, Maxi Kleber has been a lightning rod topic for the fans of this team all season long. He is a tremendous defensive player, IQ-wise, as a communicator, and this is a team you miss Maxi Kleber desperately. So to have no Kleber, no PJ Washington, those are 2 big misses. And look, if this isn't a knockout game for the NBA Cup, it's a much easier game to flush. But because this team was 1 step away from Vegas and there was a lot of expectation going in this game, there's going to be a lot of angst surely to follow it. But I don't know. I wouldn't get too hung up about it.
It's kind of like the flip side. Sorry. It was kind of like the flip side of the Mavs beating the Thunder in OKC a few weeks ago, where OKC didn't have any of their big men. And the Mavs were like, all right, well, we're just going to be way better than you tonight and win the game. The Mavs, for all of their great traits, for all of their depth, for all of their, all of these positive things about the team, we've said all year long, this is a team with really one super reliable heavy minute power forward and another one in Maxi who, under perfect circumstances, can give you 20 to 25 minutes, like you said, Mark, of just really, really solid defense, anchoring that thing, whether it's at power forward or 5. The Mavs didn't have either of those guys. So, the Mavs have gone in there against a team with no bigs and beaten them, and then they went in there with no forwards and lost. And so it's kind of like, I mean, I would love to see these teams play
that's the
full
expectations that the Mavs have set for themselves with this surge, is that, They were supposed to go into OKC and win twice before
True,
Christmas. I mean, that's that's a big ask.
Yeah.
But I think that's where, it's the measuring stick aspect of it. Everybody understands this is. I agree. Like, just because you lost this game doesn't mean anything for a very, very potential likely playoff series. In our perspective, that could be coming in May. It doesn't dictate anything about that, but it does. It is an early indication that Dallas is, just because they won the series last year. By no means, after the changes that the Thunder made, by no means does Dallas still have the upper hand very clearly. There's a, we'll see what it looks like with both teams at full strength, but I think this was at least a sign that there's absolutely, and I think Mavs fan knew this going into the season after seeing what the Thunder have done and seeing the start that they had. But I think if there was any doubt about it, it's very clear after this game, as things stand right now, there is no upper hand for either team when it comes to a potential playoff series. And what Oklahoma City just did, and we can talk about that. It's maybe I've got like 5 minutes on that, so maybe save it for the next segment. But what they did tonight,
5 straight minutes of Cato. So we want that in the second segment.
Maybe the third.
I'm sure.
Can we make it 3?
I'm sure paid like people want it.
Not to poke too much.
Well, there it is. Okay, all right.
Chat, did you catch that flat paycheck flex?
A little
Not
shade.
to poke
I'm just
too
saying,
much.
Why don't you throw some super chats in there then?
Not to poke
Aaron's
too
got
much,
me.
but there have
Aaron's
been a
got me
lot of
covered.
YouTube commenters, Mavs fans comments on our YouTube channel saying like y'all are too high on OKC. The Mavs beat them last year, and the Mavs got better. The Mavs should still be the favorite in the West, and y'all are too high on
And
OKC.
the Mavs did get better, but Oklahoma City got appreciably better.
Yeah, and
They
I mean
did.
this is a really good. Again, the Mavs they've had a hellacious schedule, travel wise, and they were down PJ and Maxey and all of that stuff. But like this is a kind of a reality check. OKC's really, really good. Like we're not just glazing people randomly. Like they're a really good basketball team. So like you just got to trust us. They're really, really good. And this game showed that.
Can you say glazing on
I don't-
YouTube?
I don't know.
I was
been
about to
said.
say.
I'm
the
pretty
same
sure
thing.
you can.
You
It's not
can.
one of the 7 words.
It's been
I don't
said.
think television knows about it, but it still makes me feel uncomfortable.
I couldn't think of a better word. I'm sorry.
No, your
I'll try.
your word choice
Tanner,
was
poll
perfect.
question.
But like the Mavs cannot. The Mavs have to play their best game or damn near their best game in order to beat OKC. Like it's
Most teams do.
yeah, I mean that's
against
how
this
good
team.
OKC is, especially in their gym.
Yes.
So like this is a really good reminder of what the Mavs are up against. And so as you kind of that's the whole point of measuring stick. Like as you go through the rest of the season and as these two teams collide, unfortunately 3 more times, or fortunately for us, 3 more times in the regular season now. They're going to carry a little extra weight because it's like, all right, let's see how we stack up against those guys. Because your road to the finals for either of these teams probably goes through the other team's gym.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big numbers before we take our first break that can
Maybe
tell you
Memphis, but yeah.
how good of a team really is. I mean, the Thunder are the #1 team in the NBA in point differential at a near plus 12, which is a full 2 points higher than both Boston and Cleveland. This is not a fluke at how much of a juggernaut, especially defensively, that the Oklahoma City Thunder are, and they flexed their muscle tonight. The number of the night, gentlemen, is 19, and I point you to 2 statistics specifically in reference to the number 19. 19, that is the amount of turnovers that the Mavericks had tonight in this game. 19, that is the amount
me.
of the Thunder were a plus
I thought it was
19.
a sound coming from his computer.
What? Was that what that was? No? Oh, that was just you.
I
Got it.
admitted that.
As I mentioned, 19, the number of turnovers that the Mavericks have. And oh, by the way, the Oklahoma City Thunder, Bobby, were a plus 19 in points off turnovers.
Oh my God!
36-17 tonight. So that just gives you an idea of what the Thunder were able to do. And look, we said coming into the game, in the last 12 games, the Oklahoma City Thunder have been forcing their opponents to commit how many turnovers per game, Bobby Carella?
19.
19
They
turnovers.
forced turnovers how much? What percentage of the time?
One out of, what was it? One out of every 4?
19.
Yeah, 19.
90%.
The number of the night, ladies and gentlemen, is the number 19. Unfortunately, 14 is also the number of the night, as that's what the Mavericks lost by to the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight, 118-104. Coming up next here on the Dlls Mavs post-game show, the turning point of this game, a big third quarter for the Thunder as they were able to get it done over your Dallas Mavericks. Plus, a little bit later on, Tim Cato is going to break it down on what he saw and some of his observations in Oklahoma City's game plan.
Really quick. You're right. I am wrong. The Mavs only played them 2 more times. So Tanner in the chat, you're right. My apologies. They were only scheduled to play 3 games this year. This is the 4th. I'm sorry about that.
So we got 4 parts of the Thunder and the Mavericks this year.
Halfway through.
3 times in OKC, 1 time in Dallas. That's a bit of a bump.
He was including game 1.
Of the Western Conference Finals.
The inevitable game 1.
Yeah. All that coming up next year on the Dlls MAVS postgame show. But it is game time here on the Dlls MAVS postgame show. If you love going to concerts, basketball games, football games, any kind of event, whether it be comedy shows, theater, you got to use Game Time to get your tickets. I use Game Time to get my tickets as I'm headed to WrestleMania in April in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium for a 2-night extravaganza. Game Time was able to help me get the seats that I was looking for. With their all-in pricing, I was able to see total up front in terms of the price and no surprise fees at checkout. Also, panoramic seat view so I can know exactly where I was going to sit at Allegiant Stadium before I picked out my tickets. And they've got the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So make sure you take the guesswork out of buying your tickets by utilizing Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms and conditions apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DLLS for $20 off. Download Game Time. Gentlemen, what time is it?
Game time?
Get ready for the season ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. They have hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find the perfect pair that match your style. They probably have a style that is a blackout, completely can't see through it for games like you might have just watched and not enjoyed watching. Yeah. So if the turnovers kept getting to you, they have something for that.
But what happens if a wayward pass hits you in the face?
Well, I don't know.
They'll replace them.
They'll. Oh my God.
Sorry, I totally knocked you off your game. My bad.
In this assumption, I was trying to black out the television screen in front of.
I know.
We can't just assume that all of our listeners have fly to Oklahoma City money.
That's right.
Yeah. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out the best deals of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code DLLS for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
I'm sorry. That's on me.
I saw where you're going.
I made that possession about me. That's my bad.
Way to take some accountability, Bobby. Good job.
I was a little late to picking up on it.
Way to take some accountability.
It was a good segue if I got where you were, what you were cooking up.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Next time.
Well,
our synergy wasn't there.
That's right.
Yeah. You passed to me. I wasn't ready for it.
And Bobby turned it over like the Mavericks did tonight.
Yeah.
Let's get...
See, that segue you did pick up on. So me and Kevin, our chemistry and the green sweaters going great.
Maybe you should put your green sweater back on, Bobby.
Black.
Before we get to our turning point of tonight's game as the Mavericks fall to the Oklahoma City Thunder 118-104, let's get to our super chat here on the DLLS MAVS postgame show from Aaron Howell with the $1.99 super chat. Concern level that the Mavs can't win without PJ Washington, Oklahoma.
A good question.
He's the most indispensable player on the team. And
We've said it plenty.
Saying that on a team with Luka and Kyrie, there is one PJ Washington. Without him, this thing is a whole lot more fragile. I wouldn't say that I'm not losing sleep over it or anything, but obviously, it really highlights how important he is and how good and how versatile and just how effective he is at fitting in and doing whatever the game needs of him.
But also, by the same token here, and I'm not trying to compare a road game in Toronto to a road game in Oklahoma City. As we've established very clearly, the Thunder are the most feared defense in today's NBA. So I want to say that, underline it, highlight it, never forget it. But what we did see in Toronto were Luka and Kyrie at their dynamic best. And when the two of them can combine forces like that and go off, that's when the Mavericks are at their most dangerous, even with all the huge contributions from the likes of P.J. Washington, Najee Marshall, Spencer Dinwiddie, Quentin Grimes, on and on and on and on and on all season. So, I mean, Kyrie and Luka were well short of that standard tonight as a duo. And in a game like this, you needed at least one of them probably at that level to be able to hang. So credit the Thunder. I mean, they took the Mavs out of their stuff.
The Mavericks 4-game winning streak obviously came without PJ. We know that. And as I said on Monday's show, I mean, I thought the turnaround, a huge part of the turnaround was PJ coming back. That, as we also know, that 4-game winning streak, every single game came down to a final shot. I do think that it's a lot harder to beat, particularly top 10 teams in the NBA without PJ Washington. The concern level that the team's just going to completely spiral out without him, I don't feel that way. I do feel that they're just their ceiling is lowered. Absolutely without PJ.
Chris out here.
Yeah, shout out Chris too.
Yeah, Chris with the $9.99 super chat. It's
Chris.
crazy how
It
good
is.
all of the OKC's guards are at defending. I mean, that is
crazy problematic. It's a problem.
Very scary, dude.
That's what they've built. They've got a lot of guards with a lot of length, a lot of active hands. They added another one, obviously, in terms of Alex Caruso. He was a menace all night when he wasn't smoking three-pointers for Oklahoma City. He was getting his hands all over the basketball.
Finished 2 of 6. Respectable.
Yeah, he made a couple as the game went on. But that's what look, the scouting report coming into tonight's game is that Oklahoma City will get their hands on the basketball. They will turn you over, and they will get out in transition and get you and score with points off of turnovers. And that's exactly what they did tonight. Bobby had plenty of demonstrations during our watch-along about how the Mavericks needed to handle the basketball, whether it be lively, handling the basketball up high, being stronger with the basketball. Hell, the hat became a prop at one point during our watch-along behind the
Can I expound on that real quick?
Sure, yeah.
So, and Tim, Tim did make an astute point of like, this is what OKC does. And my response to that was partially I was annoyed, but also my response to that was
You were.
but my response to that is like you have to adjust to the game in front of you. You know, you have to be able to do that. But like if you're 7'1" Derek Lively or 6'8" or however tall Najee is, or you know, Gafford is 6'10", 6'11" or whatever, it's not necessarily your first or second or third or fourth or fifth instinct to think, man, I wonder what the 6'1" guy that's like over there is going to do if I turn into the middle of the floor. Like you're not even thinking about it. And then here they are out of nowhere taking the ball from you. So it is one of those things where like there's always going to be this like shocking element in the first quarter of the first half. And I was hoping that as the game went on, they'd be like, okay, we have to be like, we have now experienced it. It's like defending the peak Warriors. It takes you a quarter to like figure out, oh my God, they're fast. Like I know they're fast, but like, wow, they're really fast. And then you adjust. And I was hoping that the Mavs would, and they weren't able to do it. Next time they meet, hopefully they're a little, you know, better kind of mentally prepared and dialed in going into it. But it is so out of the norm to have to worry about making a move on Hartenstein or Chet Holmgren or whoever's guarding you, while also thinking about someone that's a foot shorter than you, completely humiliating you on national TV.
Yeah, the Thunder came into tonight's game, 3 of their guards in the top 10 in steals. I'm talking about Casey Wallace, I'm talking about Jalen Williams, and I'm talking about MVP candidate Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That is how good they are in terms of getting their hands on the basketball. And with all the turnovers that the Mavericks had in the first half, they still found themselves only down by 3 at halftime, 57-54, despite the fact that Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving in that first half, when they combined 4 of 12 from the field for just 9 points between them. Your leading scorer at halftime for the Mavericks was Najee Marshall with the 14 points, going 6 of 7 in a strong first half to keep them in it. What really started to turn the game came in the third quarter, and the Mavericks found themselves losing that third quarter 33-19. But when you start looking at how that became the case, you look at the first 5.5 minutes of that third quarter. The Thunder came out after already being up by 3, outscoring Dallas 16-4 in the first 5.5 minutes of that third quarter. And the game pretty much blew open from there. And unfortunately, the turnover problem continued to rear its ugly head in that third quarter. But more importantly, the Mavericks could not get a bucket, only scoring 19 points in that period. In what was a game of runs in the first quarter, the Mavericks and Thunder trading runs back and forth. the biggest blow and run of the game came in that third quarter, Bobby, where the Mavericks just simply couldn't buy a bucket in the first 5.5 minutes of that third period.
Yeah, I mean, at halftime we were saying, okay, so Mavs fans feel like, given how many turnovers they committed and just how like discombobulated they look, it's a miracle they're only down 3. This is great. Like, if they just don't do any of the bad stuff, they're going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And then we said, well, Thunder fans are probably feeling the complete opposite. They're feeling like, given how discombobulated the Mavs look on offense right now, we should be up by 25. And, that kind of corrected itself very quickly in the third quarter. And, in a game that's tied or close to tied, like it was, whatever team throws a haymaker first is going to create some separation. And, the Mavs, after that opening run, did they get to within like 8 or any closer than that the rest of the game? Like, it was...
They got to within 10 in that fourth quarter.
Yeah. I mean, it was just it kind of stayed away. It was just, that was it. It was kind of over.
Yeah, and it's like that after that first half, everything we were saying was Dallas is down 3. If they have a better half in the second half, it's a miracle that they're only down 3 because Dallas played so poorly. And so everything was poised and set up for Dallas if they could fix a lot of what needed to be fixed in the second half for them to really make this a game. But that also needed to happen because I think we all felt like Oklahoma City had not played as well as they could in the first half. And then Dallas didn't do it. Honestly, to your point about the, reacting and adjusting in game, from quarter to quarter about what needs to be done, certainly coming out of halftime, and there for a little bit, they hadn't turned it over for a second. I want to say they went like 4 or 5 minutes before they turned it over, but then right back to where the team was. It just wasn't.
Yeah, and within the greater context of the game, we're talking about it quite a bit during the watch along, and then things just kind of got out of hand. So we're like, it probably doesn't even matter. But Kid went to Gafford to start the third instead of Lively, which I think offensively was probably the right move. Defensively, it turned out very quickly to be a kind of a
disaster.
Kind of. And so he subbed Lively in like 2 or 3 minutes into the third quarter, and that was kind of it. But he tried something. They tried something because the offense was flubbing up, and Gafford with the way that they were defending Luka, Gafford I think is better equipped to play within that style. But on defense, OKC went right at him a few times. It was tough. I mean, it just they tried to make an adjustment, it didn't work, and that was it.
Mavericks were able to pull within 10 at 97-87 with 8:56 left in the fourth quarter. Kyrie Irving hit back-to-back threes to pull them within 10, and you felt like maybe the Mavericks were going to put together a late push to try to get this thing into single digits, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander responded to those 2 threes by Kyrie with a 3 of his own, and got the lead back up to 13, and the Mavericks really weren't able to get any closer from there. That's when it's funny because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was out for about the first 3 minutes of that fourth quarter. As soon as they inserted him back into the game, and Bobby, you had mentioned it, you got to try to win as many of these Shai Gilgeous-Alexander minutes when he's not on the floor. The Mavericks were doing that, and then all of a sudden he comes back in, he knocks down a 3, and he stabilizes Oklahoma City for the remainder of that fourth quarter. And that's what it felt like. Every time that the Mavericks tried to make some kind of run, it was SGA being able to stabilize the Thunder offense, and that's why he finishes a game with 39 points and was able to really lead them offensively based off of what he was doing in tonight's game.
Plus minus, individual plus minus, yes, it doesn't usually mean anything, and I'm going to next segment, I'm going to give an example of where it does mean something. But Shai was the Thunder best, plus 22. Luka was team worst or team second worst at minus 14. You got to get Kyrie a little bit too late for him to really show up when he was doing stuff like cutting the lead to 10 with some timely shots, and the way that Oklahoma City plays him. 14 shot attempts. That's kind of par for the course when he's been playing the Thunder. It goes back to the playoff series where they faced each other. But just want more from Luka. Just really want more, because it all just off the player of the week, the very deserved player of the week.
Back-to-back triple doubles.
Yeah, and it seemed like things were finally trending in the right direction, and this was a reversion to the worst aspects of Luka Doncic pre-injury this season. and just a bummer. Just a bummer.
Dort is tough for him, dude. That's a tough matchup for Luka.
It's very tough for him, but it's and granted, like, think of the best game Luka's had against the Thunder. He hasn't had that many that are just he's never had like brilliant best Luka we've ever seen.
Yeah.
But he's your best player. You do want a little bit more.
But but just still, okay. We still want to know. Like, I'm definitely seeing a different vibe. Totally understandable, but would still like to know where you're listening in from. Maybe some flags could lift the spirit.
And what's the verdict on glazing?
I haven't seen many flags in the chat.
Mark, I like your positive.
Antarctica, stand up.
Hey, look, you looking for it tonight, man. I feel you.
How many comments we got tonight in chat?
After the Mavericks fall by 14.
I'm trying over here.
To the Thunder. Coming up next here on the DLLS Mavs post-game show, we enter Cato's corner as he breaks down how the Oklahoma City Thunder game plan took out the Mavericks in this game, is particularly when it comes to their MVP candidate in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Coming up here next on the DLLS Mavs post-game show.
If you think you can, then you can. I love that quote. It's why goals are so powerful. Putting your business goals out into the world makes you more likely to achieve them. You have year-end goals, and Constant Contact has what it takes to help you meet them faster. No matter how experienced you are with digital marketing, Constant Contact has the tools to make your marketing run smoother, sell more, raise more, and build more genuine relationships with your audience with Constant Contact's suite of digital marketing tools, all made to fast-track your success. You no longer need to struggle with expensive, slow, and unmeasurable approaches to marketing your business. With Tap Email Marketing, you can own the smartphone by adding texting to your marketing strategy. Connect with more than 2 billion people on social media with their new all-in-one tool for posting and sharing, and you can sell more online in less time with Constant Contact's powerful e-commerce tools. Time to put the go in your 2024 business goals with email, social, SMS, and customized marketing campaigns built for you in just a few clicks. Ready, set, go to ConstantContact.com/allcity and start your free trial today. Go to ConstantContact.com/allcity for your free trial.
Christmas is coming up right around the corner, and if you're looking for a perfect holiday gift, let me talk to you about Saturday Neon. Started by two college buddies, Saturday Neon makes officially licensed collegiate logo LED neon signs perfect for your home, office, dorm room, fan cave, or bar. Check out their new Essentials collection featuring almost 50 of the biggest schools across the country and counting for only $75 with the Texas Longhorns, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State signs as well. So unlike traditional neon signs, these LED signs won't break or shatter, but still give you that classic uniform glow that you know and love, lasting up to 100,000 hours, so you'll be enjoying your signs for years to come. The perfect gift for this upcoming holiday season. Super easy to install using the provided hardware or with 3M command signs. So head over to SaturdayNeon.com and use code DLLS for 10% off your favorite sign. Shout out to Saturday Neon. As the Mavericks fall 118-104, snapping their 7-game winning streak. The Mavericks will not be heading to Las Vegas. The Oklahoma City Thunder.
Nor shall I.
Nor will our NBA insider, Mark Stein, will be dialing up the Stein line coming up in our next segment. But the Oklahoma City Thunder will find themselves taking on the winner of the Rockets and Warriors quarterfinal game, which will take place tomorrow. Shout out to our folks who are in Australia, Luke, Paul in the Philippines. I know you're disappointed, but we appreciate you, Paul, watching.
Thank you, everyone, letting us know where you're watching from. That does raise the spirits.
Mark Stein, where are you watching from?
The far right chair.
It's that stage right.
Undisclosed
stage
location.
right.
Was that a trick question?
No, I don't.
I want full participation.
Well, okay.
Am I on the far right or the far left?
You are to my far right.
Well, we're keeping politics off this show, Mark, if you don't mind.
With that, let's enter into Cato's corner as Tim Cato lets us know how the Mavericks unfortunately fell to the Thunder to a specific game plan that OKC came out with against Dallas tonight.
Yeah, I just thought the Thunder were really smart in the way that they approached like Dagnall and led by Shai, but certainly specifically the offensive attack. Think back to the playoff series that these two teams played against each other earlier this year. And what Dallas did and what Dallas tried to repeat as well in this game is just wall off the rim. they would go find the worst shooter. They would put their center on them, and that center would just be in the paint, collapsing there. And the natural instinct for every single NBA player, pretty much, certainly star players, is to get to the rim. Get all the way there. That's where you generate easy points. How many coaches say, touch the paint? That's something Dallas says. Touch the paint. Get into the paint. Drive. Make something happen. That is a positive thing. That is how you start good offense. And Oklahoma City was just like, in this game, they're just like, you can have that. You can have the paint. They basically conceded, you guys are really good at doing that. So we're not even going to try. And I thought that, that obviously showed up in the 53 pointers that Oklahoma City took. They, at halftime or any of the third quarter or something like 42, I believe was the number.
Yeah.
So 42 after three quarters. They were on pace for almost 60 for the entire game, which is just a massive amount of threes. They ended up taking just barely more twos than threes, but they only took 7 free throws. I thought very emblematic of this is that Shea did take 9 threes. He often goes games taking 1, 2. It was very clearly an emphasis from the top down, from their offensive leader down.
Near all of them too. He was shooting and it's at that point you can't do anything.
Exactly. And so I thought that was really smart. It was basically just a concession that they weren't going to beat Dallas at the rim. It was a compliment to Dallas in some ways, except that Oklahoma City has another way they can beat you, and they can just hoist this many threes. And even when they made 40% of them, when you're taking that many, that's a hard thing to overcome. The other thing I wanted to point out was a plus minus that I think does matter. And individual plus minus, it's so random, and the one time that it really stands out to me is when it's 2 players who are splitting 48 minutes at a position that matters, and almost always that position is center. When Isaiah Hartenstein was on the court, he was a -6, in fact. He was on the court for 30 minutes. Dallas actually beat Oklahoma City when they had a traditional center. What can you do when there's a traditional center who's not a shooter? You can sag off right into the paint. And Dallas was a lot more comfortable when they had one guy that they could comfortably do that to. The rotations were crisper. Dallas knew what to do more often. I think that's why Gafford started the second half, in fact.
Yeah.
Just because they trust Gafford to, kind of execute against a traditional big man rather than a non-traditional one.
He was losing Kenrich a lot in the first half. I mean, we said that on stream. Kenrich was 3 of 3 from 3 in the second quarter alone, I think.
Right. Kenrich was plus 15.
Yeah.
So.
And that was all, yeah.
Yeah, 17 minutes for him. So basically, Dallas completely lost this game. In fact, would have won this game if Isaiah Hartenstein was just suddenly for some reason a 48-minute player. If for whatever reason, in a pretend world where he plays all 48 minutes, Dallas was on pace to win this game. That's how stark the difference was between Dallas being able to defend with a traditional center and Dallas being able to kind of defend and wall off the rim, but also still cover up three-point shooters. When there was a legitimate, true 5-out shooting. Obviously, of course, three-point variation is going to play into all this stuff. Maybe, without breaking it down, I'm sure that, just maybe a few more threes went in as well. You kind of in those lineups, and a few threes that were open and, could have been the same looks from the other lineup didn't go in when Isaiah was on the court. But I thought that really stood out, and it's a way for... It's a compliment to the Thunder that they do have this other option. They do have this other way that they can beat Dallas. That really stood out to me. And Dallas is going to have to think about that. They're going to have to figure that out. And without PJ out there, it wasn't really an option for them to match them small for small. Certainly, maybe they would have tried with Maxey. But it was very impressive stuff ultimately from Oklahoma City. And it's something for Dallas to really marinate and look at and think about as they prepare, whenever the next matchup comes up between these two teams, because it objectively worked very well, well enough offensively, when combined with the defense that Oklahoma City's always going to have, got them the win.
Mark, do you know, is the plan whenever Chet is back for Chet to start at 4 and Isaiah to be the starting 5, or is Chet going to be the starting 5 and they bring him off the bench?
I think we would see them together, but the way things go without Chet right now, I mean, I would imagine could lead them to, evaluate all the options. But I mean, the thing about the Thunder, like, they didn't just address the two needs that they have. I mean, Caruso and Hartenstein are just two perfect acquisitions. It's not just that, but like, they were also a super young team that is benefiting from internal improvement. And, tonight, something else we saw, like, not just knocking down 23s, but taking 50. I mean, that's a step forward for them too. I don't know that we would have seen that from last season's Thunder. So, I mean, they're blossoming in a lot of different directions, and the optionality they're going to have when Chet is, assuming Chet can make his way back this season, all the projections have been that he is going to be out. It's going to be into 2025, but they are saying they do expect to see him back before season's end. But, just Hartenstein is delivering everything they could have hoped for by adding him. And yeah, they're good without Chet, and they're potentially frightening with him.
I mean, in 8 games with Hartenstein back for them, I mean, he was averaging nearly 13 rebounds, since had come back for Oklahoma City, averaging, nearly a couple blocks per game as well. I guess the one move, we're talking about with Oklahoma City and all the versatility that they have shooting the ball and the defense, I am still really upset at how the Thunder were able to get an Alex Caruso from Chicago without having to give up anything. Like, they traded Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey straight up.
Such a good trade.
And, I mean, you give Sam Presti a lot of credit for being
able. You should have seen me chatting with the CHGO guys about that.
Oh, boy.
Like, to look at that trade from their seat.
For sure, yeah.
We know the Thunder have amassed more draft capital than any team on the NBA map.
Ever.
And the Bulls.
Yes.
It's not just that the Bulls didn't get a first in that deal, but, like, you didn't get 2 seconds.
You got nothing.
You didn't get 1 second.
Honestly, it is that Chicago didn't get a first in that deal. I don't understand. Yeah. I would have asked for
did they not
3.
ask for one? Like, what? Like, yeah. It blows my mind that they were able to acquire.
Of course, I get what you're saying, Mark.
Yeah, but like, is ruthless.
If he calls you, you got to hang up the phone.
Yeah, I'm not answering the phone when Sam Presti called me. Yeah. Like, sorry. Like, it's just not happening.
I want to piggyback off something Tim was talking about. So, talking about OKC adjusting and taking all the threes. Because going back to last year's playoff series, the Thunder played defense in a very intentional way. They were doubling Kyrie, and they were kind of they basically defended the Mavs the way they did tonight in the playoffs. And it turned into PJ Washington got really hot, and Jones hit enough threes and other guys made enough shots to where Hardaway had a good game and all that stuff to where they were able to win the series. But it was kind of viewed as like, well, the Mavs just took what the Thunder gave them because you have to concede something against Luka and Kyrie. Well, the Mavs kind of did that to OKC tonight, and the reverse happened. The Mavs took away the stuff at the rim. They said, Shea, if you drive the ball, we're going to collapse on you. Like, we're going to take away all the easy stuff and force you to make 1 million jumpers.
He was 15 of 23.
Yeah, he was like, okay, cool.
And he took 8, 9 threes. Like, that's a win for the defense. Like, if I'm the Mavs, it's one of those things where, like, okay, it's not so fun when the Rabbit has the gun. Like, now that you're on the other end of it, it's like, as the Mavs, I'm thinking, I will happily play that same defensive game 7 times or however long a series goes and dare them to shoot 40% every single time and dare Shea to make 23 step back, jumpers every single time. But they can do that. Like they can. So it's really, that's why all of this stuff is really good. It's good experience to get. It's good film to get. It's good information to get, good data to get, and all that stuff of like, if we try this and it works, let's keep doing it. And if we don't, we need to evaluate, is this
Tanner,
something we should keep doing?
We have a poll question. Do you like the saying, it's not so fun when the Rabbits got the gun?
I loved that.
Yeah, that's a great saying.
That's a very good.
Bobby Corellistrator just uncorked that one.
That's the first time hearing that?
That's the first time I've heard that one.
It's no fun when the Rabbit got the gun.
Yeah.
That's the real one, but yeah.
To Bobby's point, I agree.
Tanner's like, I still don't know.
It's no fun when the Rabbit got the gun.
Is that a good saying? Yes
That's a
or no?
great
Oh, it's fantastic.
That's a great one. Yeah, that's
This
great.
is going to be our first 100% poll. I agree that it was the Mavs offense that lost, not the Mavs defense or not the OKC offense. Like the OKC offense was good. I thought their game plan was good. They were still 70th percentile. You know, they were averaging 120 points per 100.
That poll question just made the night.
It's a good poll. But I very much agree that ultimately, like, the Dallas offense was not good enough to win this game. I don't, ultimately to beat this team, I think you have to find more ways to score. You have to turn it over less. You have to, definitely reduce the number of unnecessary turnovers against this team because they are going to turn you over at times. And I think that's a more direct path to beating them because that also takes away some of the fast break stuff. And then the offense, which was good and beat Dallas in a it doesn't matter how smart they played. You take away some of that transition stuff, and even their good offensive night is a little bit worse. Ultimately, it's the Mavs offense that is the main culprit of why they lost the game tonight. Because I agree, you will give them that offensive night because against good teams like that, you just sometimes have to give stuff up.
Yeah.
You literally every time have to concede something.
I want us to think about a question as we go to break here because I'm looking at the box score, and obviously Kyrie Irving had 17. Luka Doncic had 16. When was the last time both of them played in the same game together and scored under 20 points in the same game? We got to think about that during our next break here because I'm looking at these numbers. I'm like, oh, boy, it's an interesting thing to think about as the Mavericks fall 118 to 104, to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Coming up next year on the DLS Mavs podcast, we dial up the Stein line with our national NBA insider, Mark Stein, with his news and notes and perspective on tonight's game as well. Plus, we answer more of your questions and in the chat here on the DLS Mavs postgame show.
First, let me tell you a little bit more about what we're doing here at DLS Sports. That's right. It's time for the Die Hard read. If you scan that QR code or if you click the link below or you just go to alldlls.com, that's our website, /diehard, you have the opportunity to change your life irreversibly for the better. For less than $7 a month, you can join the mighty growing ranks of the diehards. In exchange for that small, modest fee, you will receive a free shirt of your choice. We got more than 35 designs to choose from. You'll get a discount on any other stuff you want to purchase, including shirts. We got hoodies. We got flags. We got cups. We got mugs. We got all sorts of stuff. You'll also be able to join the DLLS Discord server. That is for diehards only. You get to read our entire website, all the post-game analysis, rumors, articles, breakdowns, columns, opinions from people like Tim Cato and the people covering the other teams in town, including the Rangers, the Cowboys, and the Stars, with more on the way very soon. And you also are just a cool person. I feel like I'm forgetting something.
Your physical diehard card that you get.
That's a big one.
The physical diehard card.
It's not big. It's small, but it fits in your wallet. But it's big, like in terms of gravitas.
Yes, and it shows off your membership and part of our DLLS Sports family. If you tag us on social media, we'll shout you out here on the show as well. So make sure you go to alldlls.com.
Oh, and I want to shout out our new diehards
go
real
ahead.
quick. So the people that have signed up, we're still technically today, but in the last 24-ish hours, shout out to Joel, Jack, Al, Orlando, and Brenda, our 5 most recent diehards.
So if you want to become part of our DLLS Sports family, it is just for less than $7 a month. You get a free t-shirt at sign up as well, access to our member-only Discord, premium content, 20% off events, pre-game shows, post-game shows, watch-alongs as well. And once you become part of our DLLS Sports family here, again, alldlls.com, click that Die Hard tab and become a Die Hard member today. Shout out to Candy. Candy's in our chat tonight. Of course, Candy, part of our social media team here at DLLS Sports. Appreciate you hanging out with us. She says the DLLS shirts are fire and comfy.
They really are comfortable.
Yeah, they're really nice. And shout out to Paul. He says the DLLS Discord rules. It does. We got a wrestling one as well. So you want to talk some pro wrestling with your boy, you can have one of those conversations with me in there as well. Mavericks fall 118 to 104 on the road to the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Rabbit Got the Gun is killing it right now. Only 28 votes, but 68% of the vote says yes. That is a great
Cato
saying.
said it would be 100.
Okay. We need to investigate. There's probably some
Look, clearly some people in the chat have had the rabbit actually get the gun.
Yeah, and they're like, it's true. It really is not fun.
They're like, it's
there
no
is-
fun.
There is some PTSD happening where they're like, no, I don't actually enjoy when that happens.
Yeah.
You're reminding me of when my rabbit shot me.
Tanner, you know what
When
to do.
Sweet Snuggles.
I want that
got the
completely out of
strap.
context too, by the way, Tanner. Thank you. Pretty much.
Tanner
Snuggles
Lucas in the
with the
chat. Where's the
strap.
link for
Out of
Discord?
context.
Whenever you become a
Completely
diehard, you should get a link for the Discord. You should get one. If you're not a diehard, then you don't get one. Too bad, so sad. Just kidding.
Yeah,
You're
more
cool.
out of context clips for Tanner. Let's dial up the Stein line here on the DLLS Mavs post-game show. I'm so disappointed because our guy Stein
good?
won't have the chance to go to his favorite city in Las Vegas.
Favorite city is stretching it, but a city
One
that,
of yours.
a city that I was greatly looking forward to visiting. I was working on setting up some, I was trying to investigate my hotel options.
Mm-hmm.
Was I going to see, the Orlando Magic, and they didn't make it either. So, but the Bucks are back again.
Jalen Suggs was trying to get him there. He was single-handedly trying to get him there in that fourth quarter for Orlando, but they came up short.
With no Mavs in Vegas, I will not be. I will not. It will be my second straight Cup semifinals that I miss.
Got to get him there next
Your
year.
Bucks are there though. Are you going?
Okay, every team gets lucky every now and then. All right, and no doubt the Bucks
How's that
got
agenda
lucky
going for you, by the way?
playing against the Magic
Where's
tonight.
Charlie Saturday? Why is he not in here just reveling in the Bucks' victory over?
I'm sure he'll come up now that you've called his name.
No
I'm sure.
Paolo, no Bronze, no Franz. With the Bucks' incredible
He
effort
is a
tonight,
pretty white guy. He is not. He has no bronzer.
they are now up to 6th in the East. So good job, Milwaukee. 13-11 in the Eastern Conference. You get to avoid the plan. 13-11 in the Western Conference. You were half
The
a game
Eastern
ahead of
Conference
ninth.
is just something amazing this year. Like
It needs to be
it's
investigated.
been the Eastern Conference for like 2 decades, but this season for Milwaukee to already be up to 5 or 6, and the Sixers 7-15, but like just a shade out of 10th.
When the NBA expands and one Western team moves to the East, I expect FIFA levels of corruption.
Yeah.
All right.
It's going to be
Not FIFA
it's going
levels.
to be an amazing battle royale.
Like Adam Silver.
Minnesota, New Orleans, Memphis.
They're going to be
Those
sending
are the 3 teams with the best geographical claim to a spot in the East. Like
I'm sitting in New Orleans.
unimaginable amounts of cash are just going to appear in Adam Silver's living room. Like it is going to be disgusting.
I just think that out of all the teams that could shift to the East, why not Dallas?
I agree, personally.
there was a time that Mavericks. Now wait, I need to triple check that. But there was definitely a time San Antonio and Houston were in the East in an older version of the NBA. But I need to go back. Like I should know this off the top of my head, but I do not. But because the Mavericks started in 1980-81, that might have been when they switched it and moved Houston and San Antonio to the West. But there was a brief time those teams were Eastern Conference teams.
Oh, to be an Eastern
And that's
Conference
the thing, there are
team.
too many
Oh my
Texas
God.
teams, so like
Yeah.
you can't just move one.
Right.
Dallas has always been a Western Conference team
Okay.
in their inception. They're in the same division, the Midwest division, along with the Spurs and the Rockets.
Right. So but
looking one
the
season
Spurs,
before
yeah,
that,
yes, the Spurs and the Rockets were in the East.
the Spurs and the Rockets were in the Central Division of the Eastern Conference in the 1979-80 season, the final season of the NBA that existed without the Dallas
Right, so
Mavericks.
the Mavericks becoming an expansion franchise forced those teams into the West.
Into the West.
not fair.
No wonder the rivalry is so heated.
I mean,
It's
if
not
the
fair.
Cowboys could play in the NFC East, why can't the Mavericks play in the
But
Eastern
look,
Conference? Why
I
not?
mean, this is probably not for this show, but like Minnesota, they really should be in the East geographically.
They're very far away from everything. But so are the Mavs.
Look at in their division, like nobody's close to. The Eastern Conference teams are much closer to Soda than
the team that is closest to Dallas is OKC, and they're in different divisions.
That's very true.
Mark Stein, do you have any reporting on Omax Prosper and whether he's about to have the best 3-week stretch of his Mavericks career off the heels of this lovely performance as a backup for tonight?
I mean, reporting, no.
You can't report what's going to happen over the next 3 weeks.
You apparently have a crystal ball in the Cato corner. No, but look, this is huge. I mean, he's
It's a nice development.
He's put
here.
together two back-to-back performances, and he certainly has the support of Mavs fandom, who are just clamoring for him to get
Bobby
more
Carrella.
minutes. I mean, I wasn't even referencing Bobby Carrella.
I just saw the picture up there and was like, "Yep,
That is still up there.
Don't say I didn't warn you.
The score bug is blocking it, but yeah, it's still up
What
there.
is the picture?
Wow.
that picture."
The
right
camera
above him.
scene.
Is that from the draft?
Yeah.
Did I
We
tell
were doing
you?
it. We were sitting right next to it.
that-
That was me as you were reporting the news.
Did I?
That was you. I mean, I can't see the picture from this angle, but it was funny. And
I think.
Oh, yeah.
I can't
you were-
remember.
You were so happy.
I was fired up, dude.
You were
Like,
so
look at him.
happy.
Like, he is losing his mind
I mean,
with Omax being
with-
drafted.
Surely I told you this, but did I tell you that I told Omax's mom and dad about that picture?
Was that pick 24?
I was right
24
next to you when you
pick,
told him
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. Did we
I
ever
was,
say that on air?
Pick
I
24.
don't think we have, actually.
I literally, I was chatting with Omax's mom and dad who had flown in, and I told them, we were telling them who we are. Yeah, me and
Yeah.
Kev were standing next to each other at Mavs game and telling
Lovely
them who we
people.
are. And
Lovely people.
Lovely people. Lovely people.
They are.
And then I was like, yeah, well, we do the show, and we actually have a photo of your
How did we
son
get the
and our
photo?
co-host.
How did we get the photo?
GM Ben, your sworn enemy.
Because that was a radio broadcast.
We streamed it. It was a video.
Yeah, it was a
That's
stream.
right. You're right. You're right.
Anyway.
Look at us
night.
finding some joy after this debacle of a
I
basketball
mean, I don't
game.
have great news and notes tonight, but I mean, I do have a small something.
Sure, please.
Like that will.
Well, can I say one tiny quick
Sure.
more thing about Omax? I have no clue what's to come ahead, but that was the most competent 12 minutes I have seen from him in a backup role, maybe his entire career. He came into the game with 12 made threes, left with 2. Like 2 more.
I'm about to say how you get negative 10 threes.
Yeah, I definitely
in a
misspoke on
game
that one,
against a
but
chaotically good
yes,
defense,
and that is
Omax
specifically
did
why.
not make a mistake.
That is specifically why the competency stood out to me. I think it would be a lot of fun if he could keep going. But yeah, good job. That is the silverest lining to come out of this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, look, if he's going to make threes, he's going to get chances to stay on the court because everybody's just like, just take Maxi's minutes. It's not that easy.
Right.
Like again,
He's a worse defender. Still.
because of all those intangibles, and I said it wrong. It's Moxie. The intangibles that Mr. Kleba brings to the team. It's not just like a straight up swap. But if Omax makes the shots that he made tonight, he's going to keep giving himself chances, no question. But no, all I can really say is, we are drawing ever closer to the Christmas present that I promised you guys.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
I still don't want to reveal too much about it because I know I'm hyping it up, but I do think it is worth the hype. So I feel like it's looming arrival, and we're down to a matter of days now before its arrival.
Okay.
We're within days. We were, last time I brought it up, we were weeks away, but we are now days away. I can't pinpoint the exact specific arrival, but I think you
Hopefully
guys,
it's here.
You got a tracking number on the thing?
I do have a tracking number.
Oh,
my
okay.
God,
All
it's
right. We in
serious.
business. We in business then.
So,
All right,
like,
cool.
I do feel pretty strongly that Santa Stein is going to be well received after this gift descends upon this office.
Let's go.
Okay. I mean, once you said you got the tracking number, like we in business. We good
I
around
can't
here, so
believe
we
you're
I
giving
can't-
me a deed to a house, Mark. Thank you so much.
Dude, deeds of houses arrive.
You might like this better than a deed to a house.
All right, I
you
mean, that's
especially.
saying
I'm
something.
excited.
You especially.
A house seems like a lot of work. It's a lot to vacuum.
Well, since Stein is here, we appreciate all of you who have joined us here on our DLLS MAVS postgame show for our television audience. This is a fake ending. This is not the actual ending just yet, but we appreciate our television audience for joining us here.
What kind of ending is it?
It's a fake television ending. We're practicing so that when we get onto the real television, we can be able to sign off properly for our
Not
television.
going to let
folks.
us on TV after that glazing situation.
So thank you to our television audience for joining us here on the DLLS MAVS postgame show. Stick around with us here for our YouTube audience here on DLLS
I was gonna
MAVS.
say No, I shouldn't say that.
As we
Never mind.
continue here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show, I think I nailed that absolutely perfectly, except for
That
Tim
was good.
Thank you, Bobby. I appreciate that.
It doesn't have to be right at 59. It could be like
I know,
59 seconds.
Yeah.
But you did get it right at 58 seconds. Like it was about as perfect as you could be.
I appreciate that. We're trying to get it done, and we're trying to please Tanner as well because he's the producer of this thing. He can shut our mics off at any point if he wants.
Can I shout out some people real quick?
Please do.
So everyone is sniping in the comments, and it's real toxic and whatever. But there are a lot of Thunder fans that are driving up our viewer count and our average time watch. So
shout out to you.
Thank y'all, and also your active chatting has helped us defeat the algorithms. We are winning as a community. So thank you very much.
Look, man, we're all just one big basketball happy family here. So shout
RG,
out.
let's go.
RG,
Let's go, RG.
with the. Oh my gosh, that is extremely.
Yeah, I got
small.
it. I got it.
Okay,
it.
appreciate
I got
it.
it.
So RG says,
He's got it.
can we talk about PJ? He's like oxygen. When it's there, you don't think about it, but when it's missing, that's all you can think about. Same for PJ's size and rebounding. It's all I could think about. And
Shout out
that
to
is
the $10
extremely
super
true.
chat.
That is extremely true. He does so many. He's like, I mean, I've compared him a little bit before to Sean Marion on the title team Mavs. He just kind of fills in so many cracks. He can defend big guys. He can defend small guys. He can rebound. He runs the floor. He can hit floaters. He can get offensive rebounds. He can get steals. He can make things happen. But then also he does a lot of like invisible stuff, stuff that is not really trackable, stuff that you don't really, if you're not paying attention to him, you don't really notice, stuff that you can kind of take for granted because he does make it look easy or makes it look just like super obvious. And, they weren't just down PJ tonight. They were also down Kleba as well. And so they're down their top two power forwards. And this is a team, again, that wants to be bigger and badder and tougher and stronger than you. And whenever you're down those two guys, and especially PJ, then it's really, really noticeable.
And we were talking on our oh God, what do we call it? The watch along.
That's right.
The watch along.
That's right. That's
I had
right.
like 7 different iterations of that. I had a bunch of cinnamons in my head. Cinnamons.
I got a lot of cinnamon in my head.
That's probably why I'm so stupid.
I'm about to let you go home, Tim.
No,
I'm
I was going to say.
about
So,
to let him go home.
during the
Tim's
watch,
like, please, just
And
cut
the,
it off.
I
and the
have
show
my
alert.
point.
And the show alert.
that was good. That Mark Stein, that was very good. So we were talking on the watch along about how none of the specific issues that Dallas was having necessarily was something that PJ Washington was going to fix. Certainly he wasn't going to be, not turning it over for the other guys, and that's
He would have had a couple turnovers tonight.
He absolutely would have. And that's where, if we had to boil it down to the root cause of what most plagued Dallas tonight, it was the turnovers. And that led to the offense suffering, and the offense suffering led to fast break points, and on and on and on. So PJ doesn't specifically stop that. But PJ has such a just elevating presence that
Aura.
An aura. Certainly, always hits his threes against against them. I think.
You find that funny, Bobby?
Oh, that comment is so stupid.
Oh,
It's so funny. That's the dumbest comment I've ever seen. It's just so funny. I'm sorry.
No, it's actually really good.
That's so dumb.
Oh wait, yeah, it's not even on. Only we can see it.
No, please don't.
Don't pump it up.
It's one of the 7 words.
So dumb.
Nah, I don't even know what you're
Yeah, PJ has an elevating presence. No, it's just that one. You won't see it on your phone.
Oh, I won't. Okay.
Sorry, we're gatekeeping
Okay.
this comment from y'all. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
is that
we're
from,
keeping it all
okay.
to ourselves.
All right, I got it. All right, cool.
The person's probably already muted. Yeah, PJ helps. He has an elevating presence. I don't have more to say. Not after all this.
Well, that means it's time to go home.
Yeah,
And
it's
the
time to
show
go
alert.
home.
And the show alert again.
I do want to shout out our teammates at DLLS Rangers real quick because they had to do an emergency pod, and low key they might have to do another one because
Yeah, the Rangers just traded for a dude named Burger.
exactly, the Rangers are making moves all of a sudden.
Is Dirk Nowitzki their GM?
He's hit 250 3 years in a row. Exactly 250. What are the odds?
Miles per hour?
Are you serious?
Oh, he's a
250
Oh,
each
he's
of the
a
last
hitter.
3 years.
Each of the last 3 seasons.
What's his name?
Jake Burger.
I thought you meant his fastball.
Shout out to Jake
You
Burger.
said he hit 250.
Spend that money, Ray. Spend that
I
money.
thought he was a pitcher.
Thank you for joining us here on our DLLS Mavs postgame show. We will be back later on today, actually, since it's now Wednesday.
Oh my God.
At 1 p.m.
Wait, why don't we take tomorrow off and do Thursday, Friday?
Dude, it's too late.
It's been written.
I'm not coming.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. All right. Well,
Hella fun.
So join me and Bobby apparently tomorrow at 1 p.m. Here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. Unfortunately, the Mavericks fall tonight.
I'm gonna come.
118
Kamala.
to 104 to the Oklahoma
End the
City
show
Thunder.
alert.
We'll let you know tomorrow, by the way, when the Mavericks will officially play again. It could be as late as this coming Sunday, depending on what happens tomorrow between the Rockets and the Warriors. So stay tuned for that piece of information. So again, thank you to all of you who joined us for our watch along and our post game show here on DLLS Mavs. For our producer Tanner, our shout out to you, Tanner. He was especially great tonight, managing all of this in the chaos that is our watch along and post game show and pregame show. So for Tanner, our national NBA insider Mark Stein, our Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella, that is the non-appearing Tim Cato tomorrow here on our show. And I'm just merely your host, Kevin Gray. This has been the DLS Mavs postgame show. We'll talk to you later. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.